What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff, arm yourselves, typology stuff. Timestamp in the pinned comment to skip the intro. The MBTI questions thing on Fiverr is live. And what I've decided we'll do with that is customers can opt into sharing their question and answer with the public for free. And those get shared on the Patreon free to everybody, including non-members. And I was a little aggravated with myself when I realized releasing answers for free cuts in on my potential to answer the same question multiple times. But after thinking about it, I don't think it'll bother me too much because I'm willing to bet most people won't go through the free answers available on Patreon. Or they'll want to ask the same question anyway because, of course, it's going to be their way and they have such a unique outlook. It'll be a completely different question. And I make money on the Patreon. It might be less than if I repeatedly answered the same questions but kept the answers private, but it's still money, so you're subsidizing my greed. It's additional value for the public and for the patrons. It's less money, but it's still money, so I don't have to feel terrible about it. In the long run, I think this is the better way to do it. Now into the video proper. The peculiar magic of FI. I never expected to become half an FI simp, but here we are. And as with all the functions, we put together our understanding of them piece by piece. This aspect is one of those pieces, and I think it's an important one. Have you noticed the way FI allows FI types to be interested in something or invested in something or understand something you think they shouldn't be based on what they are, what they present themselves to be, or shouldn't be able to? With TI, you look at topics, your understanding of topics, sort of like a glass. Your understanding as it progresses isn't exactly linear, but you can feel it filling up the glass. And also with TI, I think there's an awareness of what you're specialized to do as a bio unit. We talked about this a long time ago. Your skills and specializations and also weaknesses. You look at it almost like a RimWorld. And I don't know if it's a mod, but vanilla you have passions, burning passions, and then with some mod you have the opposites of those. Incapabilities, weaknesses, apathies, and so on. And here it's not just TI, everybody operates on this scale. Some things you could spend almost no work on and get very good at, and other things you could spend years working on and get just below mediocre. And I think all sorts of people are aware of that too, but this might actually be another one of those this and that situations. I think TI, when it becomes aware of this, can specialize in its specializations faster, or within its burning passions can raise its skill levels faster. But this is where FI pulls magic shit again, because FI can develop connections with certain skills or interests even if they shouldn't be able to. And I don't think this is a conscious decision on an FI type's part. Something that should be outside their sphere or beyond their capabilities speaks to them, and then all of a sudden they have some understanding of it or connection to it when they really shouldn't or shouldn't be able to. And in these instances, it's not like filling a glass. And in fact, it's not even an understanding or an apprehension of this skill or this topic the way a TI type would think about it, or even an FI type would think about it on the typical level. With these side fascinations, it almost feels like a glitch, and I'm having a hard time wording this, but it's almost like a savant-like understanding of something. They didn't plant this crop, although they are planting some other crops. It's more like here, the crops, an odd crop, sprung out of the ground, half formed. Or it's like raving homeless dude in sight. Some examples, hypothetical or otherwise. Guy with a GED, a career oil field grunt. Primary hobbies include beer and probably Naruto. And it's weird we as a society have reached a point that all tracks oil dudes love anime. But he also has a graduate level understanding of just Romeo and Juliet. English literature at large? No. Shakespeare's works in general? No. Just Romeo and Juliet. He has a deep enough understanding of this particular play to contribute to the academic conversation if he wanted to, despite lacking the background, having none of the training, and frankly being unable to explain to other people, maybe even to himself, why he cares so much about this particular play and how he developed this understanding. It just happened. Or in Seth Zintak's immunology lecture, he discussed this, I think it was a Playboy bunny, pretty much identical situation to the hypothetical oil rig guy. No degrees, no formal training, no special background or familiarity with medicine. But she, on her own, with her own money and time, worked out that whole killing certain forms of cancer by inducing fevers thing. And she got laughed out of the room when she presented it because of who she appeared to be to the establishment, to society at large. And then, as it turns out, she's right. And once again, this is not a filling of the glass situation. This is more like a sniper shot. Celestially inspired insight. And when I say savant-like, or when I present these examples, I'm not meaning that in a detracting way. Results have become my favorite metric, because if you can secure results, then that is your self-evidence. You've proven it. Now all you need to do is work backward if you want to. And FI demonstrates knowledge doesn't work the way we're trained to think it works. Because if you can get results, then you've apprehended something. And here, that means knowledge is not necessarily a path. Or maybe you can backtrack and find the path, but you didn't arrive here by the path. And if you didn't arrive here by the path, then how did you get here? That's why we are calling it the peculiar magic. And let me reiterate, this isn't the only way FI operates. It's not even the way it operates most of the time. But it's something I'm noticing more and more in FI types. Some of them sometimes have knowledge you think they can't. And it feels organic or biological. Like this is an additional limb they have grown. Because in the more extreme examples, maybe they don't even know why or how they know what they know. But they know it, and they know it through this biological flavored connection to this topic. And I don't know what this is or why it is, but I wanted to make the observation so we can continue to build out our understanding of FI. It's odd that they're able to do this because of what TE is, and the way FI types tend to look at knowledge. TE tends to place great faith in experts, or in norms, in understanding things. Whatever's happening in the popular conversation, or the way things should be or should be done, quote, should, handed down by those who ought to know. So it's odd that those same FI types can entirely sidestep that way of looking at learning or knowledge in a way even TI types can't. And TI has its own peculiarities. The ability to smell answers, particularly wrong answers. You might not be able to work out the correct answer, but you can certainly smell an incorrect answer, all without being able to word it. But all of TI's peculiarities are not as magical as FI's strange insight thing is. And it's not exclusive to any one quadrant or function combination thing, and it's not strictly an FI-NI thing. I see it most in IFPs, but most FI types do this sometimes. It's odd they have this ability, and it's odd how biological and human it is. If you could boil humanity down into one essence, that's what this ability would come out of. And I'd wager that's why higher FE types tend to be fascinated with FI types. It's not just the ability or the knowledge, it's the source these things are coming out of. That's the fascination, I think. But we will cut it here. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.